Signs of moderate nose damage from cocaine use. So some of this damage is now not reversible. I did a video earlier about reversible and temporary kind of damage from cocaine use. Now this is the moderate damage. A lot of this isn't reversible, and the biggest one is the taste. And I don't know, man, if anyone else has ever experienced this. I mean, comment down below. But when it comes to that nasty aftertaste, and this isn't when you're doing the coke. Coke has its very own unique drip. And it's very chemically, kind of, it was bitter, chlorine-ish, but you kind of have this rotting, bad breath, just nasty taste in your mouth. That is actually rot. That is your nose inside rotting. It's coming down through your nostrils. This is a sign of now starting to have permanent damage. Like, this moderate damage isn't going to reverse itself. And you're getting to that point where there's massive nose damage to your nose. It's very distinctive. 100% not reversible. The nice thing about like the rot, I will say, if you do have that happening, is at least if you quit, it's going to eventually stop. But again, these are signs like, hey, you can't really start using again. You're going to have an obsessive amount of just bloody noses, whether you are using or not. You start to really have a lot of ulcers in your nose. This was something I struggled with also, where you can be blowing your nose and it just starts bleeding. It's the very thin layers in your skin, and it hurts. You're starting to have a lot of pressure that you feel up here constantly when you're using, and even when you're not using. Sometimes it'll even get to the point where you have some pain in your sinuses. That is just, it's like an aching, just stabbing pain that can even form into headaches. And this is a common sign of, like, this is now moderate damage that you're getting from it. And again, it doesn't matter necessarily what, because all cocaine, no matter what it's cut with, is going to at some point really start to damage your nose. Your blood vessels are shrinking, your brain is going through a lot of different changes and everything. But the most noticeable, which is amazing, is our nose. And that's, I think, the thing that will freak out most cocaine addicts the most isn't the fact that we could shrink our brain or some of the permanent brain damage we can get. It's my nose, because you're stuck with having to look at yourself in the mirror, and you're stuck with having to realize that you've done this to yourself, and it's not going to get any better. And we have this false hope too that if I quit, like maybe it will heal back. Maybe I'll be that unique one. We're not going to be that unique one. I hate to say it, but that is one of the signs right there of actual permanent damage happening. A lot of times you'll start to get the grinding of the teeth. Even you can get a lot of teeth damage, by the way, from cocaine use. That drip is a lot of chemicals in it, so it is doing a lot of damages to your sinuses. Temporary smell will go away. Like, you will lose the sense of smell for a while. Sometimes you'll start losing the sense of taste. It'll come in and out, but after a heavy night of cocaine use, you can't distinguish smells the next day, or you can't really distinguish taste of food the next day, because it does destroy a lot of that. That's a lot more of that upper internal damage. Again, some of this is reversible, some of this isn't. These are really big warning signs, like, hey, the cocaine use has gotten to the extent that you're destroying your nose, that it's only going to get worse from here. And unfortunately, in a lot of cases, we don't stop at this point. Some of the other signs that you're going to end up having is you're going to have just random bloody noses just constantly throughout. You're also going to have random drips, and like ghost drips, just that start happening out of the blue. It's like your nose is just doesn't even almost know sometimes when to stop producing the mucus to try and protect itself. It's one of those weird things of, you'll be sitting there sometimes and you'll just start dripping out of your nose, and you're snorting it back in, and it was like you just did a line, but you didn't actually do any at that moment. Your nose almost doesn't know how to stop that, because it's in kind of this constant trying to protect itself. And that's one of the worst parts, is that any damage that we do to our nose is permanent damage. It's not ever going to reverse itself. It's not going to get any better, even though we keep telling ourselves that it will. Again, you will see a lot of this damage happen usually within about 6 months of heavy abuse to a year of heavy abuse. Again, heavy abuse is different for everybody. How cocaine affects you is different for everybody. There's a lot of genetics that are involved. There are some people that can use a lot of cocaine and they don't have a lot of external damage. I've known people, though, that have done cocaine for a matter of months, and next thing you know, they have a deviated septum and their nose is collapsing in on itself. That's where, genetics do come into play a little bit of how drugs affect us. And that's the unfortunate thing, is it does affect us all differently. That no two people are going to react the same, and especially when it comes to cocaine. And that's the stigma, though, around coke, is that it's a safe drug. It's a party drug. It's a weekend drug. You don't hear of people really ruining their lives on cocaine because it's really expensive, and it's successful people doing it. And it's just going out and having some fun, I mean, that's all it is. And that's kind of how you justify it. Unfortunately, the reality of cocaine addiction is, I've met so many meth addicts who are on the streets and that are just going through it and going through withdrawals. and trying to get sober and fighting for their lives, that they started off like cocaine is their drug of choice. They can't be around cocaine, but it wasn't something that was always available to them. It was something that was always affordable to them. And so they went to a cheaper drug. Unfortunately, meth is one of those drugs that's very easy to get. It's very cheap. And it's going to achieve a very similar high. It's not the same high that you're going to get from cocaine, but it's enough to satisfy that craving, that urge. And that's the scary part about it is most coke addicts don't stay coke addicts. It's not financially maintainable. So some of this long-term damage you may never even see for some people, but they may end up going to, crystal meth, and it turns into a whole other addiction for them. Very few people have I ever met that really stick with cocaine as their huge drug of choice for a very, very prolonged period of time, just because at a certain point it does take everything from you. And again, it's such a hard drug after a while to hide because the ups and the downs from it are so great. But again, I do share this for educational purposes only to remind others that, we do recover. It is one day at a time. It's finding what works for you. It's fighting for it every single day. It's knowing that it does get better and that you are worth it. And if these signs are starting to happen to you, and the worst one is, I will say, if you really get that rotty taste, that nasty taste in your mouth, like something's not right. You brush your teeth and it's just still there. And you go like that and you can taste it. Or your bad breath constantly. And even if you're brushing your teeth and flossing and stuff, it's still kind of there. This is a sign of the rotting. And that one's gnarly, dude, because that one takes a while for it to go away. And again, this is why I do share, is because when you do stop, it might take a month, it might take 2 months, it might take a week, and a lot of these might go away. But again, even if you pick it back up, your nose is going to go right back to that moment, and it's very damaging, it's very destructive. But we do recover, and you have to want to recover. I hope that people never get to the point where their nose is actually rotting on their face, and they're like, well, maybe this is the sign to stop now. Hopefully, stuff happens in life where you wake up before that, because it's a scary place to be. When you wake up and your nose is rotting and you have this permanent damage, and that's why you get sober, you've lost so much money, you've lost so many relationships and friends and family. That life sucks, man. I mean, that's the reality is, it sucks. It's a lonely place all of a sudden. And a lot of times you're getting sober because there's no other choice other than maybe you're not going to be here anymore. When it comes to getting sober, though, I mean, you can always try rehab. Rehab is awesome. I have Refined Recovery tagged down below. They're a great rehab that's in Beverly Hills. I love what they're about and what they believe in with the therapy and coping tools and having a plan when you get out of rehab. You can do inpatient treatment, you can do outpatient treatment. Download Sunflower Sober. I have them even down below. Sunflower Sober app on iOS and Google Play. It's a great app. 24-hour support through their AI sponsor. There's a community there. There's tools and resources to learn about addiction and understand it. Everything you need to get sober and stay sober. Go to an AA meeting, an NA meeting, an Al-Anon meeting. Go to a doctor, a psychiatrist, a therapist. Go to all of them and then some, and then get on some right meds, and then go to, therapy, and then, use Sam, your AI sponsor. Just find what works for you, because it is so different for all of us. There's no one way to get sober. And that's the thing you have to remember, is there's not a right or wrong way, it's a your way. But you're going to have to find out what that is, because it is going to be a little different for everybody. And I believe in you that you can get sober if you want it.